Welcome to episode 3 of How to Hike the Backbone Trail. Today we are starting at the Stunt Road Connector and walking down a large mountain to Puma Road. This is what the Stunt Road Connector trailhead looks like. Just a minute's walk from this trailhead, there are a few areas to park on the side of the road, and a few more minutes walk on the connector and you'll be back on the Backbone Trail. The sign guides us rightward to the Puma Ridge Trail, and we start off with some quaint woodland which is shaded. Enjoy the shade while it lasts, because a lot of this trail is sun exposed, and with these openings you'll be able to see hints of Stunt Road and you can look back at Calabasas Peak. Like on the last episode, you'll be able to see lots of sandstone outcrops. And there's lots of switchbacks and back and forths to conquer as you work your way down the mountain. Again, this trail is not in want of any interesting rock formations. Sometimes they'll be beside the trail, sometimes they'll be near the trail, sometimes you'll see them in the distance like they're a vertebrae of a large animal. And sometimes you'll even have to walk over the rock formations. And again, you will find even more chances to check out the Calabasas Peak as it recedes even more into the distance. By the way, I'm using a Gregory Zulu 30 pack to do this hike. It's a framed pack with a hip belt to keep the weight on your hips so your back doesn't get tired. And the frame suspends the back of the pack away from your back, which keeps the airflow going and the sweat accumulation down, which is much needed in all 4 seasons of SoCal when hiking. As you get a little bit further along on this trail, you'll start to see views of the canyon below. I think it's called Dark Canyon, and you'll also be able to see these jagged high amplitude mountains in the distance that make you feel as though you are in the midst of a geological tempest. Each section of the Backbone Trail has its own unique features, and these valley views and the significant vertical component of the mountains in the distance really define this section. By the way, we are in Malibu Creek State Park, and the mountains in the distance are also part of the park, and indeed we will have to walk up those mountains in the next episode. Be careful on a particular switchback as you come down the mountain, as one wrong step can cause you to tumble down in a not ideal fashion. The pyramid-shaped mountain in this shot is a lot more striking in person than it is in this video, such that it's been given a name. The name is Brent's Mountain, and it will be an extraordinary feature on the next episode as we will be hiking the mountain adjacent to it. This hike was actually done in late winter and everything was green and lush, and on occasion you had to slog through some muddy spots. We had some anomalous rain in California this year, The jet stream got stuck over the state, and right now as I'm putting this video together, the wildflowers are out in full force in the Santa Monica Mountains. And as we get closer to the valley floor, Brent's Mountain looks a lot more foreboding, like it's a miniature K2. And we start to get back into some woodland and some newly sprouted grass. And by the way, once we get down to the valley floor, we'll be on Puma Road. And from that point, there's only about a 1.5 mile walk to the Malibu Creek State Park trailhead. And from there, you can actually leave the Backbone Trail and walk north about 1 mile up to the Malibu Creek State Park campground. So if you are through hiking this trail, there is another camping option for you. Again, the Toyon berries were on display this winter. Do not attempt to eat these berries raw, as they contain glycosides that are a precursor to cyanide. I've heard the only way to consume the berries is to boil them for about 30 minutes to get rid of the toxin. Here I am about to touch down onto the valley floor, and there's a creek you have to cross, so bring your trekking poles and bring your waterproof hiking shoes in the winter or your fast drying trail running shoes in the summer. And be careful with this last bit of trail before you hit the trailhead. There's a little side trail on the right that just goes to some residential property. Okay, this is what the trailhead looks like, and directly across the street from this is your next trailhead. There's a little picnic table if you need to take a rest, but if not, you're only about 1.5 miles from Las Virgenes. Okay, to recap, on the last episode we went over the Saddle Peak Pass. We walked through the rock garden and descended via the switchbacks down to the Stunt Road connector. In this area here is where the Backbone Trail meets the connector. And in the last episode we also walked down the connector to Stunt Road, and we stood there and looked at the Calabasas Peak. For this particular episode, I parked on Stunt Road near this connector, and I'll try to zoom in here and show you exactly where to park. It's just a couple dirt patches on the side of the road that are across the street from the trailhead. The trailhead is right here, and you just walk up the connector to find the Backbone Trail, and once there will be the sign that says Saddle Peak is to the left and Puma Road is to the right. And of course, for this episode we went to the right, and you can see the trail marked here with the green line. As you can see, the trail is a series of back and forths that are married to the contour of the mountain, such that there is a gentle slope downwards. And at the halfway point of the trail there is some open fields, and from there we were finally able to see down into Dark Canyon and also check out the vertically Savage Mountains in the background. You can kind of see their foothills in Google Earth in this area. Then we tackled this last major hill, which had a series of switchbacks embedded in the chaparral, and which gave us nice views of the canyon below. And lastly, we came up to this little bit of woodland as we touched down onto the valley floor. That's where we crossed the creek and then finalized our journey to the Puma Road trailhead. And as you can see near the trailhead, there is a trail that forks off to the right and meets up with another trail that just went to some residential property that we were trying to avoid. The next section of the Backbone Trail is hidden in this small copse of trees. And if I zoom in a little bit, you'll be able to see exactly where the next trailhead starts and where that picnic table was located. All right, folks, so we'll see you on the next one when we walk up the Mesa Peak Motorway Trail in Malibu Creek State Park.